All right. Well, hello, students. My name is J. Daniel Gomez. You can call me Daniel. I am a career advisor at the Career Development Center, and I am happy to be here with you today and to give you some tips and suggestions on how to prepare and make the best out of the career fair coming up tomorrow. I know we have some students in the audience, but for those of you that watch this video, um, take note of what I mentioned, and you'll see a lot of the advice, and you might find yourself in the situations that I mentioned when you go to the fair. So this could be really useful for you. So on that note, for the students in the audience, feel free to type a question or unmute yourself if you want to ask the question on anything I mentioned. So with that being said, let's just go over the content, and let's go ahead and begin with where is it going to take place. So we are happy that we are allowed back in the State Mart Center. In addition to being in the bigger event arena, we got updates that you no longer have to show like a COVID negative test. So all those additional protocols have been removed. So the only thing we ask you to follow is that you wear a mask as soon as you enter the building. So that's the only thing that we're going to be, reminding students to keep their mask on, as well as employers. It's up to you if you want to shake a hand, or if you don't want to shake a hand. We're not going to be policing that, but just take care of yourself, take care of others at the event. There is going to be 2 career fairs going on, so there's going to be quite a bit of a crowd out there in the State Mart Center. If you've never been in the State Mart Center, so let's start with that. It is not per se like right on campus, so it'd be quite a walk if you get out of class and try to walk there. What we tell students is you probably might want to, if you drive to campus, drive to the State Mart Center. The parking lots with your student parking pass are going to be accessible to you, so I recommend you drive over there. That way you don't get too sweaty on the way to the State Mart Center. But for the students attending the Recruit the 99 Career and Internship Fair, which that would be you, you'll go to the northeast entrance of the State Mart Center. So I'll put a big arrow here. You're going to see people lining up for the northwest side of the building, but that's for the teacher recruitment fair. So that's for school districts. For you, you'll go to, don't pay attention to that crowd. Keep going to the other side. You'll come into this side, and then we have a whole team of staff members. I'll guide you to the arena floor. You're actually going to be where, where the artists are when there's concerts and so on. So there'll be plenty of signage. You'll make your way to the arena floor. And then in a second, I'll show you an app that we have accessible to you that, based on the employers that you want to speak to, there's an interactive map and you can find their table location, because there will be quite a bit of people down there once you make your way into the arena floor. So I do see somebody put a comment. Do we need to register for the career fair somewhere? You can just walk in. No need to register anywhere. So any questions about how to get to the State Mart Center? And once you go into the arena floor? Clear as mud? All right. If you have questions, there'll be plenty of volunteers, and the career staff team will be there. You'll see us will have a blue Higher Fresno State shirt, and people will have a blue button that says, "Can I help you?" So feel free to ask questions or directions once you enter the State Mart Center, okay? So that's what will be happening tomorrow.
Lincoln has a question, Daniel. He says, do we need to register for the career fair somewhere ahead of time, or can we just walk in?
So no need to register anywhere, just show up. Now, in the past, we did encourage students to register or sign up on Higher Fresno State. And this time we're not pushing it, because we're hoping that you view the employers through the app. We paid some good money for the app and the interactive maps. We're kind of pushing students that way. But if you do attend the event, you're going to be entered into a raffle. So Macy's, they were gracious enough to give us about $1,000, 10 times 100, 1,000. Actually, yeah, 1,000. $100 gift cards for you to attend. If you attend the fair, you'll be checking in with your student ID. So we'll have a record of your attendance. And if once you talk to the employers that you want to approach and then leaving the event, we do have a brief student survey. So if you complete it, your name will be added one more time to a raffle for increase your chances of winning a $100 gift card to Macy's. So this is, an extra thank you for attending and, learning about opportunities related to your major. So definitely don't forget to check in and do the survey on the way out. Okay, so how to work a career fair. Out of the folks attending this mini workshop, have any of you gone to a career fair before? And feel free to type or mute yourself.
Yes, I have.
Awesome. And let's see, this would be my first for Lincoln. Perfect. So we have a little mix of some folks that have been into some. For Lincoln, this be your first one. So I find this advice to be useful if this is your second, third one, is a good refresher. But if this is your first one, pay attention to what I'll share with you, because when I talk to students about attending this event and then they go and then they come and see me like, hey, I learned about this or I saw this. I don't think it's good to just wing it and just show up and see what happens. There's things that you probably want to do tonight, and we'll give you some pointers, such as what are you going to wear? What are you thinking of wearing? What companies are going to be there? So I want to show you some tools on how to better prepare and show up with a game plan. Some of you may have an hour in between classes and you want to attend the event. And if you don't go in with the game plan, the hour can, fly really fast, and maybe talk to one table and you spend 50 minutes just, being overwhelmed with all the people near you. But I encourage you to prepare yourself. Be ready to talk to the employers. It's not, recommended to walk into a table and just say, hey, what does your company do? We encourage you to do some of that research beforehand. So when you talk to them, it's more about the opportunities, introducing yourself. Maybe you know why you want to talk to them to do certain projects or products that you're interested in doing an internship with them or work for them. And it's more of an in-depth conversation rather than them spending 5 minutes telling you what the company does. And be ready to ask them some good questions and then collect information from them and then do a follow-up. Please don't walk away from a table thinking that you gave them a resume and they'll be contacting you. Giving that resume is like more of a formality. Get their contact and then follow up via email. Or if they give you a link for you to fill an application, follow through and fill that application out. And that way they have your resume, they'll see you in their application system, and that way they'll remember you better. So there's a few tips and some videos I'll share with you. Feel free to watch the videos after this event and use the tools that I'll show you that we have available. But know that we don't recommend you to show up and walk around, see what happens. So in terms of the preparation, before the fair, you want to look at who's coming. You want to see where they're going to be located. You want to prepare the elevator pitch or your introduction to them. You want to make sure your resume is updated. And I have a 3 sample resumes in this PowerPoint. So if you've done some recent projects or you got some projects going on right now in some of your classes, go ahead and put them even though they're in progress. These could be, topics of conversation when they, ask you, oh, tell us about your skills or tell us about some of your projects. You'll be ready to share some of that. Don't try to pull an all-nighter tonight. Get plenty of rest. You're going to be speaking, walking, moving around. If it gets a little warm, you might be sweating, right? So take a water bottle. So give yourself and your body plenty of rest so you have a lot of energy to approach these employers. During the fair, dress professional. If you make a plan to talk to companies, stick to it. You may be tempted to go to the big flashy table and see what kind of goodies they're giving away, but stick to your game plan, go talk to your tables. Then if you have extra time, see, what, other cool stuff is happening. Some folks sometimes bring TVs into the event or, cranes or different gadgets, and it can be really eye-catching, but, stick to your plan and, go and take care of business before you just walk around and see what else is there. So that ties to that, use your time wisely. An hour, if that's all the time you have, could really fly. If you want to be there the whole time, the event is from 12 to 4 p.m. That's the time the CMR Center will be open to students. I will give you this pointer that some employers start packing at 3:30 because they're trying to beat traffic. So if you go in there with the mentality, I'm gonna show up at 3:30 and just, talk to 10 tables, and you might catch 2. So, show up early and stick to your plan. And when you do approach the tables, kind of have practice it in front of the mirror. Just try introducing yourself, practice handing your resume and see, just so it's more like muscle memory rather than, you don't want to be stumbling your words when you approach the tables. And of course, after the fair, if you get those contacts, add them on LinkedIn. If they have a LinkedIn, send that email, proofread it before you send it, and follow any instructions, see if they give you instructions on applications that you'll be doing. So I didn't just want to talk and show you text on the screen. I want to show you some videos to bring this to life. So let me reshare my screen. And I think I have someone putting some content. Let's see, for starters, what would be a great question to ask? Now I'll jump right into that since you asked. So these would be good questions. These would be questions I recommend to kind of get a conversation going. So what kind of opportunities are available? Or if, see, Crystal, are you a graduating senior or you're junior or sophomore?
I just changed my major to architectural studies.
Okay, so in your case, I would ask more about what kind of internships are available, or what do they look for an intern? So at this point, you'll be, you're going to shoot more for an internship rather than a full-time job. So ask questions related to that. You can ask them, what do you look for in applicants? I have my resume, I just changed my major. What would help me stand out if I do apply to your opportunities? So the people that are at those tables for the companies, they're hardly ever the managers. They're more of the recruiters or people that review your applications when you apply. So it's really, useful to talk to them about what their opinion is, because when you do apply, they're the ones that are going to review it. So you can ask about that. Besides questions about the opportunities, you can ask about current projects that their company is working on, or if they have hired any alumni from the university, or you can kind of play off of that. I'll show. Let me see if I can access the Career Center website real quick. Discard. It was saying forbidden a while ago. Let's see if it's back up. Okay, we're back. I'm gonna drop a link and I'll put it in the PowerPoint too. Their resumes and interviews, interview with confidence. This would be another list of potential questions you can ask. Sometimes you want to get a sense of what do they like about the company? And that might tell you a bit about the company culture, or if there's any employee perks besides, asking about salaries. If there is in fact a manager at the table of that company that you want to talk to, you can ask them about how do they, give feedback to their employees. If this is hardly ever in any website for a company, you can ask them if there's a mentorship program in the company, or what kind of training do they provide to new employees. That would be good to kind of pick their brain. Sometimes students are curious about how do they evaluate the employees in the company, and they'll be able to share with you some of that information. And if they do have some internships that they're recruiting for, it's okay to ask, what does a typical day look like for that internship? What are some of the projects that the interns have worked in the past, or what are some of the projects interns will work in the future for this upcoming internship that you're promoting? So I'm gonna drop these in the chat. So that was a good question, Crystal.
Thank you.
Let's see, and I think, was it Martin? You attended a career fair before?
Yes, the last one that was in person.
The one, let's see. The one that was at the North Gym, right? Last fall semester?
Oh no, I'm thinking of the one before that. I was in the South Gym.
The South, okay. And when you were approaching the employers, did you find some questions more useful than others? Like for you to ask them?
I asked them what internships that they had available if they were recruiting.
So that's always a good one to see what they're recruiting for. So I dropped the link for some of those questions I was dropping or mentioning, so feel free to check those out. So let's reshare the screen, and I want to share it so that we get some video and audio. show you all this really cool video. And the reason I think it's cool, so before we start, can someone verify that
career fair.
you got video and audio coming through? Feel free to type in the chat or unmute yourself. Tell me if you can hear and see the screen.
Is it?
Are you guys able to hear and see it? Okay, perfect. So I like showing this video. We got a new vendor for kind of career videos. And I like this video because it gives you some pretty good live, sceneries or scenarios that are going to happen when you're at the fair. Number one, our career or Seymour Center, the arena floor looks very similar to this. I was there today. So this would be a common thing in between the aisles as you walk in and approach the tables that you want to talk to. So, of course, you see people wearing masks for this event, but you'll see a sea of people. So kind of have this in mind and know that there'll be quite a bit of traffic. And then the video is going to go into some of the scenarios that you're going to face. Like, what if you want to go talk to an employer, but there's already someone talking to the employer? Like, what should you do? Should you be in your phone? Should you come back? Should you wait and listen to what we're talking about, right? So I'll give you some good pointers. So let me let the video play, and then I'll ask you some questions about it.
Is a great chance to meet with hiring managers face-to-face, to ask questions, to learn about multiple companies, to make connections and shine. But you can't just roll out of bed and stumble aimlessly around the event hall. Preparation is key, and a good place to start is by going over the list of companies that are going to be at the fair. Prioritize them by your interest level. Check out their websites and do a little research. When researching the company, you'll want to gain a grasp of the core services and key players within the organization, plus any initiatives or new products that they might be currently launching.
I think one of the best things a student can do is do their research and plan and prepare. We all have all of our employers that are attending viewable on the website with job descriptions, samples of positions that they might be hiring for, where they're located. So really getting to know a little bit about the companies that they want to go talk to.
So what might they ask you? I think a pretty standard first question is tell me about yourself. So you might want to have a brief but powerful response to that. And have some questions ready for them as well.
A red flag for me is a candidate who approaches with very little information on their resume. They start off by asking me what the company does, so they haven't done their research before, and they have a challenging time talking about their qualifications or what they want to do long term.
An example of a good question to ask might be, what does it take to succeed at your company? Another one, simply ask the rep, what do they enjoy most about working for the company? Make sure you have plenty of copies of your resume, and maybe even different versions depending upon the company that you're approaching. Some of the standard characteristics that you'll be evaluated on are organization, appearance, professionalism, and confidence. So make sure you pick out an outfit that's suitable for the event, suitable for an interview.
If you come up and you just have that presence and you look me in the eyes and you shake my hand firmly, you're asking me questions and you're answering my questions, just being genuine and honest. I look for genuine people. I'm going to remember those people.
And you are really going to need to bring some energy and enthusiasm on the day of, so make sure you get plenty of sleep the night before. Hit your top priority companies first, but don't rule out all others. Leave some time in your planning for these so-called wildcards. There may be a company that you didn't expect to be there, or one that just catches your interest for whatever reason. Explore that feeling. But if you can step outside and do a little research on your phone before talking to them, that's recommended. This happens often. If you get to a booth and the company rep is already tied up talking to somebody else, don't just walk away and expect to come back later. You may miss out on the opportunity. Take advantage of your time in waiting by casually listening to the conversation in front of you. Use that information in your upcoming conversation with the recruiter. Take a minute to jot down a note or two after each interaction. This will come in handy during your follow-ups. After the fair, following up is key. Don't think that just because you provided your resume in person that you were all set. And you might still want to apply online before or after the career fair.
Show off your resume. You want to pat yourself on the back, talk about the good things you've done. And like I said, you need something that makes you stand out. And if you don't bring that thing up that makes you stand out, nobody's going to go look for it. You have to kind of pave your own road.
So there you have it. Be prepared and be professional. Embrace the adventure of the fair and you will likely shine. Good luck out there.
All right, so really quick, could I have each of you type or unmute yourself? What is one thing you learned? And it kind of echoed some of the discussion points we were having before, but what is one thing you learned from that video? See, not everybody at once. Let's see, I'm gonna pick on Martin again. Martin, what is one thing that you learned from the video that maybe you didn't know or was a reminder of what to do?
Yeah, I didn't think about this waiting around and listening to the competition nearby before coming back. When I went to the last career fair, I would walk around from place to place, and when I saw that there was room to enter, I would enter.
Mhm. Let's see, Lincoln says it would benefit me to research companies before showing up. Yep. Like I think the video starts on just roll out of bed and walk into the building. Yeah, do some research, and I'll show you the tools that you have access. Research about the company, be company. Perfect. All right, so let's jump back into the presentation. Thank you for your input. And wait, let me share without sound and video. And I'll get into the tools that you have access to. But actually, before that, your resume. You can show up, do all this research. You're ready to talk to the companies, but that resume, it's a representation of you on a piece of paper. So if you haven't updated your resume or your resume doesn't quite look like this, it doesn't have to look exactly the same, but you got a contact section on the top. You put what you're looking for. It could be an objective. Some of you sometimes choose to do a summary, like a summary of your experience if you are a senior. Your education, clearly state the name of your university, your major. You can even mention some classes that you have completed in your major. And huge for you as engineer or architectural studies or even construction management students, your projects, your lab activities. That is the application of your technical training. So make sure that you have the latest projects that you have worked on or are currently working on. And don't forget to add if you're part of any student organizations. That's super important in your resume. So I put 3 samples. I think one of them was mechanical, civil, and construction management. So take a look at those, reflect to your resume. And if there's, parts of it missing, make sure you add it. We do have walk-in help at the Career Development Center. So if you want to get a quick, pair of eyes on your resume tomorrow morning, we open online and in person as early as 9 in the morning for that service. No appointment needed, just walk in and they'll give you some feedback, quick double check on your resume, but this is what you're shooting for. No templates, no 2-line resumes, too much color, stick to the basics. Employers are gonna look at it less than a minute, so make sure it's readable. And this is like the content that you wanna aim for. But back to the tools. So on the tools, if you go to your student center, and don't just click on students self-service. Click on the top says my menu. When you do the drop down, there's campus systems. So if you select that option, then you can access Higher Fresno State. Higher Fresno State is useful in this case because we noticed that some of the companies, are posting their internships and jobs in our system already. Some wait after the fair and some are getting ahead of it. So let me show you something real quick. So once you get into your My Fresno State, like I said, don't just click on your student center. Go to campus systems, you'll see Higher Fresno State. And once you access this database, you can click on events, company events, and you'll see the Recruit the 99 fair. This will give you a list of all the companies attending, but there's a better tool that we have for you. But if you want to see what's currently available in our database for internships and full-time and even on-campus jobs, under the job search tab, there's currently 422 opportunities. You can filter them by internships or on-campus jobs, and there's even a major filter here. So I think we have so I'll do mechanical engineering for an example. If someone was looking for entry-level mechanical jobs, looks like there's 19 currently posted. So this could be a really useful tool. And if you take a look at the employers attending and you look at what's posted there, you'll see some of them are attending the fair. So if you want to do this beforehand, before tomorrow, and you want to ask questions about a position that you see, that will be useful before you submit your application. All right, so that's Higher Fresno State. So that's one tool already accessible to you. The other tool, this is specific to the career fair. After tomorrow, this app will go away because they only give us their service for one day. So if you click this link, I'm going to put it on the chat so you can access it. This will take you to an interactive web page that looks like this. And the Recruit the 99 option, you'll see the list of all the employers attending. So we have a total, oh, we just got one more today, 164 total. There is some really useful filters. So let's see, architectural studies. I'll use that one for example. So once you filter it, it'll narrow down the companies that are recruiting specifically that major, or they are recruiting any major. So you may see a combination of both things. So by selecting that, you'll get a more narrowed down list. If you start some of these organizations, and then you go to, let's see. Okay, for this, you're gonna have to access the app. So this will be just a list of the companies, but in the phone app, once you start them, there is an option to see an interactive map, and they'll show you a map of the arena floor, and it'll show you exactly where each of the employers. You can see the table number here, but in the app, I'll show you where exactly the table is located. So by starring your top companies, then you can kind of design a path that you want to take, and then go through all those stops tomorrow. So that's a tool that we have access to. You can access it today already, and it'll be available all day tomorrow. If you have any issues accessing it at the fair, we'll have volunteers, and they can show you how to, maneuver the app. But it does have some basic information of what majors they're recruiting, if they're looking for full-time entry-level jobs or internships. So that'll give you a sense, and then what position titles they're trying to fill. So that's the Career Fair Plus app. It's at no cost to you. So get in there and start browsing around. So continuing on, some other cool tools that we have available to you would be our Pinterest board. I think that's what they're called, Pinterest boards. So our Pinterest board, I get the question sometimes, I don't know what to wear. Or is this professional? Is this business professional? Is this business casual, right? What do you draw the line? So we have a few boards to give you a better sense of what would be a good outfit, things to watch out for. And if you don't have professional clothing, which is not something on, like, oh my God, I don't have a formal outfit. Please don't feel bad. We have something for you. So at the Career Development Center, we have, if I can access back the page, I have the direct link in the PowerPoint, but we have a professional clothing closet available to you. It's open tomorrow as early as 8:30. I think we have our student assistant coming at that time. Our office opens right at 8 if you want to come bright and early. And we have a fitting room in our office. So we have like a restroom / fitting room. So check out the clothing that we have. It's for you. you can get 3 professional clothing items like a shirt, a jacket, slacks, a dress, anything clothing base, and 3 accessories, which could be shoes, belts, ties. We do have some jewelry or accessories, and we have some students that we train them to help you put an outfit together. And all the clothing available there, it's clothing that we check, and it's something that you can literally put on. If it fits right, you can walk into an interview with it or go to a career fair. So definitely take advantage of this. If you are a freshman, sophomore, come by every year and you can build a nice wardrobe out of the resources that we have there for you. So hopefully that's something that you guys knew of. If you don't know, come and check it out. All right, we're gonna continue into, you got your game plan, you know what companies you're gonna talk to. You have your resume, you got your outfit. Now is, time to shine. So it all starts with you introducing yourself. We're not gonna do handshakes at this event, but it could be a wave and then you're gonna speak. So to help you prepare for that, I got a super quick video on that, and then we're gonna practice introducing ourselves in a second. So let's watch this video together. So let me go ahead and make this full screen. It's a little loud at the beginning.
A 30-second elevator pitch, sometimes called your 30-second commercial, is a quick way to introduce yourself at a career fair, when networking, or in any professional setting. Start off with a quick intro, your name, year in school, and major. Easy, right? Next, mention your plans for the future. What field are you interested in? Let the other person know your goals. Then, talk about the steps you've taken to get there. Briefly describe your experience or skills that you've developed to help you reach your career goal. Finally, if you're talking to an employer, mention how their company fits into your career plan. And there you have it, a 30-second elevator pitch. Create one and you'll be able to approach employers with confidence. So, what's your pitch?
All right, so I like showing that video because sometimes when I was a student and I kept hearing elevator pitch, right? To me, growing up, when you go into an elevator, it was more of like nobody talks in the elevator. You just press your floor, super awkward, and you get off once you get to your floor, right? So showing this video helps you see that the whole idea of the elevator pitch is just be able to introduce yourself and in a short, format, not go on and talk for like 5 minutes. So I'm going to share my screen again to show you those main points that the video mentioned. And I will challenge you to introduce yourself, and I can give you some feedback right now to make a good introduction when you approach the tables at the career fair tomorrow. So let me get the screen up again. And let's see. So here's the main pointers or items. You want to start, of course, with your name. I myself have a huge name. I'm Jose Daniel Gomez Martinez. I prefer to go by Daniel, so I mentioned, you can call me Daniel. And then you want to state your major, that you're attending Fresno State, your plans for the future, and some of the steps you've taken, and you can even tie it to the company if the company matches like your career plan or your career goals. So let's see. I really appreciate some of you volunteer. If not, I will call in one of you, but this would be really useful to practice so you're ready for it tomorrow. So anybody wants to take a stab at this? All right, Martin, go for it. So if you could just start with your name, major, school, your career goal, and then kind of fill in some of these if they apply to you.
Yeah, hello, I'm Martin. I'm from Fresno State. I'm majoring in mechanical engineering. My plans for the future is to work more in 3D modeling, SolidWorks, and AutoCAD, as well as for now, short term, just get my foot through the door, find an internship or part-time work as I finish my degree. Steps I've taken so far is taking on more group work, group projects, as well as personal projects. And I'm been interested in doing things with like battery swapping for electric vehicles.
Right on. I think that was great. If you once you do some research on the companies that are coming, if some of those companies match your interest, bring that in at the end. So then that was a good start. Crystal or Lincoln, do you want to take a try?
Sure. Sorry, I'm embarrassed, but I'll try.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Crystal Gacan. My major is architectural studies, and I am attending Fresno State University. My plans for the future is I want to be a professional architect, drawing and designing buildings. And the step I've taken towards this goal, and I mean my plan to take towards this goal. Oh shit, I messed up.
It's okay. It's fine to practice here. So yeah, this is something you want to practice a few times, and it
Yeah.
could be some of the things you've done is you're taking some classes, right? Or
Yeah.
if you going to the fair and talking to employers is one of your steps, mention that, hey, being here is one of the steps I'm taking towards my goal. And like we mentioned, take a look at the companies. I think there's a few civil construction firms coming, and definitely approach those. And they'll tell you what internships they have. Good try. And Lincoln, do you want to? Yeah, good stuff. Thank you for trying, Crystal. Lincoln, you want to give it a try?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear.
Okay, sweet. Just had to plug in my mic. My name's Lincoln Hooper. I'm a sophomore and my major is computer engineering. I'm actively pursuing a career in cybersecurity and I'm on track to graduate in 2024.
Right on. Any steps you've taken towards this goal?
I mean, I've been in school this whole time. I mean, for the last 2 years.
Right on. Okay. And if you can connect it to some of the companies if they do have information systems or a component on that, you can ask them about that. Or
of course, yeah.
And I think cybersecurity certifications are huge in that field, right?
Yeah. I'm doing that on the side.
Perfect. Yeah, feel free to name drop if you're doing some training on your own or some boot camps. Feel free to name drop some of those. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
You got it. And I think we have someone that joined in a little later. I think I see 2 Lyles College accounts. Might be Hernan that rejoined. Okay. Well, let's continue. Okay, so questions to ask. We kind of jumped the order of the slides. So take a look at the link I dropped in the chat if you want some more ideas. But kind of get as you research the company, and let me take a step backwards on this. So let's see. Martin, are you mechanical engineering?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so let's use you as an example based on Career Fairs Plus. So if I remove architectural and I go to mechanical, okay, mechanical engineering. So this gives us a more filter search. Guardian, for example. I'll give you a quick overview of the company, but then it'll give you the company website. And then it looks like they're looking for interns. Okay, so when you guys look at a company website, sometimes just looking at it and see, if it speaks to you, it may not be enough. Let me give you some pointers. So you definitely want to take a look at their About Us tab. And usually they should have, it's okay. It doesn't hurt to look at the history of the company, but I want to see if they have, sometimes they may have a, this would be pretty good. Any news happening in the company, or if they are a parent industry, it looks like they are a parent company, they'll have information about their sub companies or their products or services. So this would be good for you to just browse around the website, learn more about how they do what they do or what products, what makes them stand out. And this could be good notes and topics of conversation when you approach the table. And here we go. So Guardian, if you haven't noticed, they do everything and anything with glass, whether it's glass for cars or buildings. So if you click here, then you'll see what specific information you can get into their products. So this would be good to kind of have a background when you go to the table. They should also have either in the top a careers tab, or sometimes they'll have it at the bottom. So you can, it's totally fine if you go into that job search and they may have a video or some of the positions listed here. If you type intern, it might send you to like a college student page, or they might have the actual postings here. So this, how I usually recommend students to kind of dissect the company. And if you want to go to a step further, if you, let's see, let's do Guardian Glass. Sometimes you can see where, if it's only a national or international company, but let me just grab the name of the company. If you have a LinkedIn account, you could even take it a step further. You can look up the company on LinkedIn. There it is. And as you see, they're an international company, but let's look at the North America branch. And this one, sometimes they'll have more like videos or some more insight on the company here, easier to find. And I'm not seeing people. Most of the time they'll have a people tab, and you could even see we have alumni working there that you may want to connect to. So let's see, I got one on LinkedIn. Okay, I was hoping if we had an alumni that works for them. So this is some other things you can do to do some research on the company, especially if it looks interesting. But if you do some of that research beforehand, that could help you and help you narrow down which companies you for sure want to talk to, and have some more insight on maybe questions that you have for them. Hey, notice in your website you guys do this, or I notice in your careers page that you have this type of internships. Is that something that's currently available, or whatever it may be? But yeah, be ready to introduce yourself, go through the information they share with you, and then have some follow-up questions. And in closing, hopefully you have some good exchanges of information. Collect business cards if they have it. And I recommend within a day, maximum 2 days, send a follow-up email and attach your resume, especially if you have a good conversation and they tell you that they really want to see specific things in your resume. Make those changes in the resume and make sure you send that updated resume with your email. If they do have, I thought I put it there. If they do have some instructions that to help you stand out when you do submit an application to their company, or use their company job application, if it's something specific to them rather than just submitting a resume, take notes. What I tell students, it's okay to take your notebook and take notes on that. But if you have access to, let me see if I have one. Oh, I gave them out. If you have access to a Padfolio, it's like a binder, and it has a pocket to put your copies of your resume, and it has a notepad on the other side. If you have something like that, take it. If not, it's okay to take a notebook. Jot down some kind of quick, main points of the conversations you have with them, and you can use that when you send that follow-up email. Try to spell check your emails before you send it to them that day or 2 days after. So make sure that it looks professional, that you don't have any typos or major grammar issues, because that is a writing sample. So make sure you proofread it. And as you're wrapping up that conversation, say thank you for their time they spent with you. It was a pleasure meeting you. I'll follow up with what you asked of me, and follow up and follow through, and that helps you stand out a lot, because a lot of students sometimes don't send that follow-up email, and if you do, that helps you show that you do have those professional skills. And leaving on a note of saying thank you and showing gratitude can help you leave in a good note, especially if you feel like the conversation may not be going well. Just still say thank you, and don't just walk away. Something else that I heard from recruiters is probably don't want to just be on your phone when they're talking. Although some of you use different apps to take notes on your phone, it could be perceived as you're not interested or you're texting. So please don't be on your phone. Be on your phone once you finish the conversation and then you're looking for the next table, right? That's a good time to be on your phone. If you do go to the table and there's someone already talking to the recruiter, like the video mentioned, kind of lean in a little bit, kind of listen what they're discussing. Maybe they're already answering the questions about the internship and you're kind of catching it already. And when you talk to them, you can say, hey, I heard you speak about the internship with the previous student, and it really stood out to me that when you said, ABC. So that way they don't have to repeat everything again to you, right? They're humans, they get tired. If they get questions about the interview program 50 times, they may, get a little repetitive. So, take advantage of that time when someone's ahead of you, lean into that conversation. And if you can do some research about a company that you didn't notice, but it looks interesting to you, you can look them up on the app or do a quick Google search on them and before you approach them. That's totally recommended as well. So that's pretty much all the tips and advice I wanted to share with you today, especially the Career Fair Plus app. Check that out and have a game plan, see where the tables are located. That way you maximize the time that you're going to be at the career fair. And if you do have questions after the fair, right? And you're like, oh, I want to talk to someone before I send a follow-up or before I submit an application, I do have walk-in hours every Friday. And I am housed right there where Hernan's office is in East Engineering 356. So if you take the elevator to the third floor in East Engineering, as soon as you get out the first door to the left, and you don't need an appointment. I am there 1:30 to 4:30 if you want some feedback on the resume or submit an application, or maybe you line up an interview from the career fair. That happens too. You want to talk more about career or interview preparation, we can also do that. If these hours don't work for you, we are open at the Career Development Center 8 to 5, but we do have students and staff available 9 to 3 p.m. to help you with anything related to resumes, applications as well. So with that being said, any questions from the group before we close this workshop?
I'm just wondering do you also share this PowerPoint to us?
Yeah, so what I'll do, let's do this. I'm gonna put my email in the chat. Send me a quick email and I'll respond with the slides. Let's see, there it is. So you should be able to copy paste. Yeah, it lets you grab it. So yeah, shoot me an email, put career fair PowerPoint in the subject line, and I'll just reply and send this file to you. And feel free to share. Hernan recorded this. He might share with other students that registered. But if you find the slides really helpful and you have a friend that could benefit from this is not copyrighted, share with them. Maybe they can get some good tips out of that. All right, Martin or Lincoln, any closing questions before we conclude? All right, Lincoln's good. And Martin, going once, going twice. If you have any questions, guys, thank you for joining. Please continue attending these. They do make a difference when you see yourself going with the game plan and you see a lot of students with kind of big eyes and they don't even know where to go. Be nice to them too. Tell them, hey, are you on the app? What's your major? Show that friendliness. And now information that maybe they don't know, and that that can definitely change their experience at the fair as well. So I believe Hernan had to step away, so I'll go ahead and close the session. And did everybody get my email? If you do want the slides, shoot me an email right now, and I'll do this before I leave the office. All right. Once again, thank you all, and I hope to see you at the career fair tomorrow.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.